So good morning everyone.
Good morning.
I extend my warm welcome to all the participants to the 2-week online certificate program on advanced logistics and supply chain management, innovating for the future. Today is the 5th day of this ongoing 2-week online certificate program, and for today's session we have the guest speaker, Mr. N. Govindaraj. It is a pride privilege for me to introduce Mr. N. Govindaraj, who is at present the Chairman Subcommittee for Certificate Program of Indian Institute of Materials Management. Sir is having 44 years of experience, in which 28 years experience in the industry and 16 years of experience in the education field. Prior to it, sir was the Logistics Shipping Management at Wales University, Chennai, Tamil Nadu. Sir was the Executive Committee member of Indian Institute of Materials Management and is also a member of Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, United Kingdom. Sir was a member of Indian Society for Training and Development, ISTD, and Kerala Management Association. Sir was successful in getting Indian Institute of Logistics Kochi the status of top institute in logistics training through a survey conducted by the Sir was heading the placement and training division at Wales Group of Institutions for 5 years, conducting campus interviews, training programs for Science College, Engineering College, Management Institute, Hotel and Catering Institute. Sir was able to achieve 88% placement overall for the group. Sir have written articles in various news media on supply chain, logistics and shipping management. Sir also developed course structure and syllabus for various institutions. Professor Govindaraj has made study notes for distance education program of universities. Sir has conceptualized and conducted executive development programs at Chennai. Sir, I welcome you for today's session and I request you to deliver the participants. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Padi. Thank you for inviting me for this program. So let me tell you something more about myself for the benefit of the participants. I am a graduate mechanical engineer and I was working in various industries in manufacturing, procurement, logistics, supply chain. My last employment was in the Middle East as logistics manager of an American company, and I returned in 2001 to Chennai. After that, I joined Wales University, and throughout, I was in this education field. So this is the brief thing about myself, and of course, during the course of this lecture, I will be able to give you some examples in the sense, it will be my own experience in the sense, it can be a success or it can be a failure also, because you can see today's topic, inventory control and warehousing was not that easy when I was working, because today the people, I'm sure that many of you may be working, you have got the advantage of the technology. Everything is on your fingertips. But during my days, you won't believe, we didn't even have a mobile phone. So to contact a supplier, you have to book for the trunk call and wait. That was the scenario, when we people were working. Now things are all changed with the new developments, technology, and also the processes and that. So with this brief introduction, I am going to the topic straight away. So far you might have today Professor Padi was telling that it is day number 5. You might have got an introduction into supply chain. You might have got an introduction into, I think, it was on transportation and distribution. So this is actually an extension of what has been delivered yesterday. So it is warehousing. So before going into warehousing, we have to discuss about inventory control. So after discussing about inventory control, I will go to the warehousing management systems. Okay. So now you please look at the slide.
Your voice is, sorry to interrupt you, sir. Your voice is not clear, sir.
See, this is what the top of my voice I am telling.
It is clear, madam. Audible. It is clear. Clearly audible, madam. Please raise your volume.
Can I continue?
Sir, it is clear. Clear. Voice is clear.
Okay.
Don't
Can
worry.
I continue? Yeah. Can I
Sir,
continue?
voice is clear.
Yes, sir. Continue, sir.
Okay. So now I am going to show a slide on supply chain. This is just a prelude, to what I am going to talk to you. You people know that since supply chain is nothing but sourcing, making, and delivering. So this I am redefining what you are seeing on the screen to another which is prepared by me. So it is a supply management. That left box you can see, a lot of supplies will be supplied. Everything will be converging to a point which is known as stores. And stores, that small box, will be diverging into the big box, that is process. And that red spots, what I am showing. This red spots, what I am showing is all, workstations. So through these workstations, process will be done. Then, again it will converge to a point which is known as warehouse. In warehouse is the last point in a process scenario. So here, you will be making the packing and what are the delivery schedules, everything. Then ultimately it goes to the consumer. So this box, I am calling it as delivery. So it is supply chain is nothing but it is three types of management. One is supply management, then stores administration, then process management, then again warehouse administration, then delivery management. So delivery management is where you might have seen yesterday this transportation, distribution, all these things. With this brief introduction, I am going to the next slide. That is inventory. I'm sure that you people might be knowing what is an inventory. So here I have shown to make it simple. It is an idle resource with a value which is consumed on demand. That is what is inventory. Whether it is a store, it is for our in-house process. You have to get it through a requisition. Then you process it. Then once a finished good is ready, finished good is stocked in the, stacked in the warehouse, and according to the customer's requirements, again it will be delivered. So just I have put for you people to understand, give a better understanding of inventory. It has got 5 purposes. Mainly it is supply and demand, balancing of supply and demand. Then it enables specialization in manufacturing, because you will be able to know, inventory. You manage your inventory with that, which is not required, and which, or in other words, which has got higher demand and lesser demand. Accordingly, you have to modulate your manufacturing also. Then the third point is provides protection from uncertainties. That is where we will be seeing how inventory is able to. Uncertainties means stock out. A stock out should not happen. Then acts as a buffer between critical interfaces within the channel of distribution. Then last one is enable to achieve economies of scale. If your managing inventory is a failure, you will not be able to make a profit or even it will fall into a loss. So that is what is meant by the last sentence. That is economies of scale. So now we come to what is inventory control. It is constant fixing of standards based on requirements. Okay, if you will be having a doubt, how you get these requirements and all that you might have already seen, you have attended various lectures, the speakers might have told you about, this demand planning, various things. So based upon that demands and all that, any business, let us take it, whether it is a healthcare industry or whether it is a restaurant or eatery or an engineering industry or a process industry. Based upon that, what is that main thing you require? That first one is a raw material. Then you require some access, some additives to that to make it into a full product. So each one will be having various standards. Based upon that, you will stock items and it will be consumed. So you can see the evaluation of the performance with respect to these standards in order to find out whether they are adequate and taking such corrective action as is necessary to bring forth the desired results. What is the desired result? Because balancing of your demand and supply. See, when an item is required, it should be. That is the success of managing a warehouse or even a store. Let us say storehouse.
Sir, sorry to disturb, sir.
Yeah.
But there is some disturbance because of some earphone, or I think.
Are you able to see my screen?
No, screen is visible, but sir, voice. If without earphone, you can continue. It will better, I think.
I see. Okay. Now is it clear now?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to the next slide. Types of inventory. So there are usually three types of inventory. One is production, second one is MRO, and third one is WIP. Usually production, we know anything to be manufactured, you have to have raw material and all other additives. I used the word additives in my previous when I was telling during that previous slide. Then MRO is nothing but maintenance, repair, and operational. Many consumables, production consumables, so many things will be requiring. Then WIP is in work in progress. So now I take you back to your slide, number 3 slide I have shown you on supply chain, where I have shown 3 boxes. In that first box, it was supply. I said supply management. So supply management, this is the production inventories, inventories, and during that second box, that is process. That MRO inventories will be requiring, as well as what is being issued, from the store to the process place. You call it as a manufacturing plant or whatever it is. That is also WIP. Then the last one is finished good. Finished good, finds a place in the subject of the day, that is warehouse, which is ready for consumption. So again, I am showing, taking up that on my inventory flow, I'm showing it. This is what, just now I explained, because inward, the supply management is nothing but, inward inventory management. Then stores administration is nothing but, properly stocking what is required and issuing it, at the right time inventing. Then this process management. Once these items are issued, it is being converted into various products, and each stage, it is known as WIP, or work in process inventory. Then comes the finished good inventory, because it is the
Hello.
product is ready for the product is ready for consumption, and it cannot be sent out to the consumer directly. Various things like packaging, documentation.
Hello.
All these things are
Yes, yes. Excuse me, sir.
Pratap sir, voice
Yes.
is not at all clear and keep sound is coming. I don't know what the sound, but it's still keep coming. We are not
See,
able to concentrate.
What I suggest is, please switch off mute, all the participants. I do not know. I am also hearing, horns, car horn, so many sounds. In my case, I am delivering this lecture in a closed room. No disturbances are there. Even windows are closed.
So I think there is network issue something, because maximum participant get this issue.
With the network, no sounds will come.
We are on mute only, but the sound is keep coming and not able to concentrate.
Professor Padi, hello.
Yes, sir.
I think it will be better to mute. In between that, all participants starts talking means.
Yes. There may be some problem with the fan or some nearby, some sound may be there. I think fan or something is running.
My end, yeah, of course.
Yes.
I'm having
Yes.
AC. You can switch off that.
Yes, switch off that.
Yeah, one. Is it okay now?
Yes, and to avoid external sound, you can use the earphone now, I think.
Yeah. I'm using the earphone. Okay. So I hope you might have understood about this inventory flow. In any business, it is not manufacturing alone. You take anything, even a supermarket or a pharmacy, anything. There will be an inverter or supply management will be there. They will be stocking it. Of course, in a shop, it will be that racks will be there. Then, of course, there is no process and all that. Then, once the consumer comes, they will be able to draw that product and deliver it to the pipe building. Now, the next slide I am going, that is known as selective inventory control. So, selective inventory control, you can see on the screen. I will read it first. Every item has its own degree of importance, and selection of inventory control should be based on that degree of importance, or in other words, there are variations in the method of inventory control from item to item, and this differentiation should be on a selective basis. There is, it is being explained or like this, but it is nothing but, we have seen in that earlier slide, that is that balancing of demand and supply. Usually, today, I am having an item, say 100 numbers. That 100 numbers may not be there in the next month. Suppose the requirement for that item is, there is not much demand. Again, the level of that item or stocking of that item, will come down. There will be some other item which will be having more demand. So we will keep stopping that item more. So this is how, it is a fluctuating scenario. Now, there are some concepts for controlling the inventory, usually minimum level. Minimum level is the lower limit of inventory and represents a reserve or margin of safety to be used in case of emergency. That will be the lowest limit of any item which can be in a store or a warehouse. Then there will be a maximum level also. That is based upon the inventory policy of this the organization or the proprietorship, or because some people, some businesses, they think of keeping 3 months stock, 2 months stock, 1 month stock, or even 1 week stock, just like that. It is a policy. According to that, the maximum level will be fixed. Then there will be in between this a level is fixed as a reorder level. That is being worked out. Once this level reaches, immediately that requisition for replenishment will go to that purchase or procurement group, and immediately they will take the action, to replenish and reaches this to the maximum level. Then there is another concept that is inventory carrying cost. So in the beginning itself, we said we have seen that inventory is nothing but an idle stock, having some value. So these are the cost factors in that. There will be a fixed cost. Usually, it will be the material cost and the cost in bringing into the stores. Then variable cost like your storage space utilization, that has got a cost, and other supportive things. Then other costs means again removing from the package and stacking it, all these things. Then of course the labor employed, all these things. So everything is added. This inventory carrying cost also, usually this cost accountants, every month, they will be calculating this, and the people, who are manning this inventory, they will be knowing this. So usually the highest value items, it will be their responsibility or their intention to see that the highest ICC value, that is inventory carrying cost value, will be pushed. Now, how you come up to this or you bring this levels, all those things. So there is something known as ABC analysis. So through this ABC analysis, you are able to find out what is to be kept, what not to be kept, and what should be the levels, all those things. So it's a technique which enables individual minimum stroke maximum levels of inventory to be easily determined by classifying inventory into 3 categories that we will see. That is known as A, B, C. So A is usually having a higher value, and the level will be low, and C will be lower value, and the quantum will be more because of lower value, and anything medium value and medium consumption will be stocked as or classified as B. So this is what annual value of consumption of each item is taken into consideration, and an analysis is done. So this is the analysis. High value, low consumption is graded as A class, then C class, low value, high consumption, then which is coming in between, this is B class. Let me tell you, during my service days, all these things, we used to do manually. Because we never had the support of technology and all that. Nowadays, something known as EPOS is there. That is immediately you draw any item. The inventory value will be registered in the system or in a This classification also is automatically done through the system, and once in a week and all that, people who are manning this can see the dashboards. They will be able to again reallocate, rechange, anything is required. That procurement action can be taken. Whatever it is, decision making can be done through this.
Hello, Govind sir. Sir, Professor Avijit here.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Some kind of internal noise is coming from your side actually. Okay.
No.
It's continuous.
It is
So can you just adjust your my microphone or headphone you are using? Just.
Yeah, it is maximum.
No. So just check your jack at least, or you check your jack. Only.
Yeah.
Sir, I think so. Nearby any mobile or
nothing is
available.
Nothing is there.
Some kind of continuous noise is coming. Maybe
Yes,
the
sir.
internal system problem or the mic problem, maybe.
Yeah.
So anyway, sir, I can understand that you cannot resolve it right now.
Okay, sir. You continue, sir.
Please continue, sir. Please continue. Please.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank
So
you,
now we come to the inventory management objective. So the objective of inventory management is to minimize total cost with the customer objective. Let us see, what we have to minimize. So here again, I am taking to the total supply chain cost. So you can see the various cost elements. So you can see inventory carrying cost, which is detrimental. Suppose your inventory carrying cost goes beyond certain level, definitely your supply chain cost will go up. So you might be knowing the importance of this controlling your inventory. And before going into the latest trends, I wanted to tell you, during the period, when I was working, we had various types of inventory control methods, known as FSN, that is fast, slow, non-moving. Then XYZ, that is again, depending upon the usages. So these things are obsolete nowadays. Only ABC is done to fix up the levels, based upon the consumption. So those things are obsolete now. Now some latest trends have come in managing the inventory. They are JIT, Kanban, and VMI. So JIT, that it is mainly, it is a manufacturing practice. This been developed, after the Second World War at Toyota car manufacturing company in Japan. They have come out with this. This is nothing but, there is zero wastage and zero inventory thing, and this is being practiced in automobile industries only nowadays. No other place, this is not possible, because let me tell you, I have worked in a steel plant. I cannot practice, JIT. Same way I have worked in a process industry, soap and oil manufacturing. There also, I cannot go for this JIT, because definitely I should have some stock of raw material, everything. Then certain type of manufacturing, where if it is a job production type, that means according to the customer's order, you have to procure and make, you cannot go for a JIT. So mainly in automobile, because large volume and somewhat, the same type of dimensions or models, there, this is applicable. So what JIT focuses is on improving the efficiency of process, and ultimately it results in better quality products. Then another thing, it is JIT is aiming on elimination of waste, which results in higher productivity. And of course, this requires people involvement, thus reducing the production cost to lower minimum. Then next one is Kanban. Kanban is also practiced in Toyota car company only. This is some sort of a planning method, or you call it as a material requirement planning, because Kanban, in Japanese, is known as signals. So you give certain signals. Green signal means yes, I don't require that material. Yellow signal means yes, it is ready for replenishment. And red means yes, immediately it is urgent. It has come to the lower minimum. Like that, that signals are sent. Based upon that, it is being done. Now I have seen this sort of floor stock. Automobile companies and automobile accessory manufacturing companies, all they are practicing this on the shop, because there are various components used in the shop floor. So shop floor items, they show this. Of course, they are showing not cards, they are showing the lights, that amber, green and red. That way, they control them. Then the last one is the VMI, which is known as Vendor Managed Inventory, or in other words, supplier replenishes on customers' consumption pattern. So various types of VMIs are there. First one, establish, suppose in your process area or in your manufacturing area, you allot a certain space for various vendors or your suppliers, and your consumption pattern is given to them. Based upon that, they will be replenishing. So when you go for taking an item or demanding an item, or indenting an item, it will be available there. So that is vendor's responsibility. And the advantage for the manufacturer is the vendor will be billing only for the items which has been consumed. Then there are other methods also, because usually some ancillary industrial estates will be there. So your supplier will be at very near. Usually again, in automobile industries, it is the ancillary industries, industrial estates, or something like that will be there, where with a short notice, the supplier will be able to replenish the stock. And nowadays, of course, EDI or electronic data interchange is there. No call, nothing is there. Automatically, the supplier knows, when he has to replenish it. Like that, this will be done. So I'm just going to understand the importance of inventory. I'm going to show you a small case. This has happened, years back, but this is a case, discussed on selection of transportation only. But I am not going into that detail. I am just going to show you where, the importance of inventory, or in other words, inventory carrying cost has made a decision for the management to choose the right transport mode. So this is what has happened. The Sony, you people know, it's a Japanese company. They started a unit in Malaysia, and all the components, used to send from Japan with lengthy lead times. So after some time, they found that their supply chain cost. You can picturize, that slide, I have shown earlier, the total cost, or in other words, your total supply chain cost was going high, and that made the management to decide, where, how we can control this ICC or inventory carrying cost, and that made them to change the mode of transport. So this is what they have defaulted to air freight from sea freight. So I'm just going to show you a small table only, because four cost factors are shown here: administration, consolidation, in transit, and booking in. And for air freight, how many days it is taking. So totally you can say it takes only 5 days. Then sea freight, it is taking 40 days. Okay. Now, you can attach, the cost factor into that. You will find how the cost variance is there. But here, I am bringing your attention to point number 2, that is consolidation, and point number 3. This is where, inventory accumulation is happening. So in consolidation, sea freight, it requires 5 days, because container that we will be discussing later. 5 days is required, for stuffing a container. Then in transit, it will take, because the transportation is done through ship, which takes around 28 days to reach the destination. And even after reaches there, again 5 days is required, for all the process and reaching it at the Sony BP's Malaysian plant. Whereas the other one, once it is dispatched 5th day, it is ready for consumption. So these two inventory control cost or inventory carrying cost factors has made them to resort to air freight. Now, there is another thing happening nowadays, surplus. What is surplus? Surplus is something. Okay, before explaining that, I am bringing to a formula here. I hope you can see that, it is an operational management formula which says input is equal to output. What is your input? Material plus energy, which gives you a product plus waste. That is your output. So anything, any output will have some wastage. It can be wastage of time, wastage of material, etc., etc. Now let us see this waste. Nowadays you call it as surplus, or materials in store which are more than what the user department requires. These are an unavoidable burden on avoidable burden on stores inventory and should be disposed of to recover funds lost. So those methods, I am showing. First one is prevention. Second one is minimization. Third one is reuse. And fourth one is recycling. Last one is disposal. Okay, the first two points, that is prevention and minimization, is your planning and managing. Whereas the third one is already, your surplus has been generated. Now you have to, come out of that. How you come out of that. That is what these last three methods are showing. So you can look at this diagram I am showing, because it very clearly, you will be able to understand, quantity more than required is surplus, and obsolete is no longer usable. Because this is happening because, you might have changed your design, or, you might have resorted to some other product or design. So it becomes non-usable for you, but it may be required somewhere else. Then obsolescence. because no longer required but in usable condition. Then salvage, saving for utilization by converting it into something. Then reclamation is also bringing back the original, bringing back to original condition. So obsolete, usually you try to sell it, or you will find out some other user is available, then you can give it to them on a barter system. Something required for you will be available there, that you can take it, like that. So this is how this waste or surplus is eliminated. So I'm showing that how surplus is generated. Of course, first problem is our forecasting problem itself. Some errors might have happened. You might have planned something, and I'm sure nowadays it is happening. Many industries. I'm sure that many of these participants are working professionals. You might have planned your annual plan, everything you might have done in 2019 December, and what happened in 2020 after March, everything has come to a standstill, grinding halt, and now only slowly we are recovering. So that errors in forecasting might have generated surplus. Then multiple stock points. This problem happens, because some of the industries they will have multiple stock points, especially items like rubber, some agro-based items. You will have multiple stock points. Sometimes some imbalancing will happen, and you will find that some surplus is generated. Then economic batch production. When you resort to economic batch production, because that is a change in your plan of manufacturing because of certain environmental issues, which is happening today. Then eagerness to satisfy customers. In that case, you will produce more than what is required, and suddenly your demand will go down. Then imports. Imports, why? Sometimes your supplier, they will insist on certain minimum ordering quantity or MOQ. Then definitely, you will have to resort to that minimum ordering quantity, and that will also generate some surplus. Again, it is the duty or the success of a good engineering or process management system to see that item that generated through imports is also converted into a finished good, and it is being disposed of. The last one, distribution system. Sometimes distribution system it will have some problems. It can be because of some embargo on certain areas, maybe in domestic itself, say some state. Nowadays it is happening. You cannot take items freely to another state, like earlier days, and of course to other countries also. So that is what is known as distribution center. So what will happen? Your finished good piles up, or finished good inventory piles up, and subsequently that balancing or going out of or pushing of that product out is not happening simultaneously. So there are certain things I have shown here, how surplus can be controlled, proper layout. why layout is, of course, this layout we are going to discuss later during warehousing, because sometimes if a proper layout is there, you will be able to visualize, if you will be able to visibly you can see what is high and why it is piling up, all those things. This is a visual inspection. If it is not, the proper layout is not there, many things will be hidden, and at a later stage only it will be revealed during a stock taking or something. Then movement, through proper movement of items, you can control this surplus. Then standardization. This standardization example also, I will give you my personal experience. The last final session. Then receipts and issue control. This is very, very important because unless your receipts and issue control is not pakka, then surplus will be generated. Then perpetual inventory audit. So perpetual inventory audit is a way of controlling your inventory, because this happens throughout the year. Because anybody visits your organization, you can ask them to just look at your monitor and select a few products, maybe A item, B item, C item. Then you physically check it out. If it is okay, that means there is no problem. But if any stock, either it is less or high, immediately you will have to find out where you might have forgot to make an entry, or something might have gone forgotten to come back, which is forgotten to make an entry of that also. So such things you will be able to correction. This is a corrective thing only. That is why I called usually in some of the books it is called as perpetual inventory control, but more than that it is perpetual inventory audit. It's an auditing process, so that it helps your final audit, or in other words stock taking. Then let us see what are the post COVID challenges. Because small and medium enterprises are on severe stress, because any process industry you take, the small and medium enterprises are your suppliers, and they are on severe stress. Means see, you have given them your replenishment plan, and they are not able to do it because the other their supply management is affected because of this, or in other words they are not getting the raw materials. So that is one thing. Then of course inventory is piled up due to lack of orders. Definitely that now things have started. Now we are on lockdown 3. Slowly the government of India has already sanctioned manufacturing units can start with limited number of people. So I am sure these things might be, this piled up inventories will be pushed. Then low capacity utilization, that also is going to be a big challenge. I mean, experts have to think about this, how to come out of this, because again this is also a chain reaction. That is why I showed you this supply chain, that thing, supply management, process management, and delivery management. Then logistics concerns, like earlier days, because earlier days, it was all pakka, because you can monitor, your transporter has left the place or collected the item. They are at this place now. So here, they will be reaching at such and such time. So you are monitoring so that monitoring process, will get affected, because of the logistics concerns, due to the present scenario. Now, suppliers are unable to meet even statutory obligations, because I'm just showed, GST, salaries is a different thing, GST, because GST, once you do not pay the GST, you will not be able to take out an item, or you will not be able to build an item. So that sort of embargo will also be happening. Then restrictions imposed by government authorities on various count. Of course, that also, will be various protocols are coming. Those things will be managed in the near future. The new safety norms have come, because any item, which is coming and which is being processed and which is being sent out will have to definitely go through this protocols, because I think ICMR is already in the process of issuing the protocols. What we are practicing now is during this period, pandemic period. But later stage, we will have to go through these things. That things will be coming. So definitely you will have to go over that again. That time consumption. You can see that how all these things are affecting your time of procurement, time of your processing, and time of your delivery. Sorry. Then lack of financial support from banks. That is also there. Banks will not be as helpful like pre-COVID era. Now some short-term remedies. Of course, this is during a discussion forum. Some of the industry people, they were sharing this. So I have taken this. What they were telling was frequent communication and interaction, then securing capacity of suppliers, logistics partnership, then inventory planning. That is restructure your planning. Inventory planning methods, then close interaction between operating team, then frequent forecast and planning, then conversion of material, then substitution, alternate, all these things you will have to think to come out of this. This is a short-term remedy only, because already you have piled up some inventories are there, or your suppliers are there, to help them, you go for this short-term remedies. Now there are some long-term remedies also, like globalization to regionalization, because we know in supply chain we call it as strategic sourcing, because you will be just for an example, your screw, or your nut, your stud, you will be procuring from local, and your nut, will be procuring from across the globe. I'm just giving an example. Various many components, going into a single small accessory. You can see, it was a global procurement has happened into that. Now you will have to think about that globalization to regionalization. And second point is, cost alone may not be a consideration, because of cost factor only, you are going for this globalization, because we know this steels and all that you buy from domestic market, the cost will be high, from whereas you import it from South Korea, the landed cost is lesser than what you pay here. So that has made you to do your some of your raw materials to globalized purchasing. Now you have to rethink on that, leaving the cost factor. And as we have seen earlier, here you can have a stringent control over your inventory. You cannot just pile up your inventory because demand is there. That is also you have to take proper attention. Then create flexibility, because raw material, when you buy, different sizes will be there that you can standardize into certain single dimensioned items. With that, 2 or 3 types of components, you will be able to make. So that one particular size raw material is flexible, you can make it, from that, or in other words, it caters to, 3 or 4 types of components. Then critical supply chain and access critical supply chain, because this always, because earlier, what was happening? Supply chain, that was something, it was a smooth supply chain was now, you have to go back to that critical supply chain where always, you are monitoring, constant, monitoring is required. Then scenario planning, because each day may be different, accordingly, you change your plans, even your manufacturing, your procurement, your stocking plans, everything. Okay. Now I go to the next topic of the day, that is warehouse. So warehousing refers to the activities involving storage of goods on a large scale in a systematic and orderly manner, and making them available conveniently when needed. I just wanted to tell you, because that diagram, I was showing stores, you have seen where items are stocked. Then warehouse, where finished goods are stocked. What is the difference? You take both stores is a place, or in other words, your verbatim meaning you take, both are the same. It's a place where an item is kept under safe custody. That is the dictionary meaning. But functionally, these are different. Store is a place where you get your input or inward materials, which is ready for converting into a final product. And your final product is stocked in a warehouse, and according to the demand, it will be sent out, or in other words, it will be meeting its delivery role. And definitely, warehousing is an important auxiliary to trade. If your warehouse is or your warehousing is a failure, nothing will happen. You take a restaurant, okay, see there are a lot of items, and somebody comes, and he orders it, and when that raw material for that item is not available, or it is a stock out, what will happen? You cut a sorry figure in front of your consumer. Same thing. Instead of restaurant, you take any product. When that demand comes, you should be able to cater. So warehouse, or in other words, your warehousing plan, of course, it is integral with your inventory and production planning also. But warehousing, stocking, and how they are ready with their dispatch plan, everything is important. So whatever I have told you now, I have made a note of that. Stores to be visualized as an integral part of materials administration. That is getting a supply, then storing it, then issuing it for process, where inbound items are kept safely for in-house consumption, for transforming to a finished product. And the major functions are receiving, storing, and issuing. Whereas in a warehouse, finished goods are stored in a condition ready for consumption, awaiting for outbound transmission. You take that word, I don't know whether you can see that indicator I'm showing, ready for consumption. So ready for consumption means a finished good comes, then you have got various processes are there, like packing and labeling. Suppose some inspection is involved, inspecting and keeping it. All these things are there. That is what then only it becomes an ultimate finished good. That ultimate finished good is what is ready for consumption. So immediately you get a intent. Immediately you are able to push it for outbound transmission. Now we come to the categories of warehouse. Hope everybody is hearing and you are seeing my presentation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So now I am going to show you various categories of warehouse. The first one is private. Private warehouse means suppose you are running an organization or you are running a business. Let me say the word organization. You are running a business. For that business, you require your resources. You are keeping that resources in a place that is known as, in your own premises, that is known as private warehouse. It is exclusively for your need. Then next comes public. As the word indicates, it is for public. That means the premises are available for various users to stock their finished goods. Awaiting for that demand. I'll make it once more clear. Public, usually earlier, it was only government organizations were manning these public warehouses, like this warehousing corporation is there. Now private parties also has come, and apart from that, you take container freight stations, inland container depots, then some private parties are doing this as a business, constructing a place, making into a warehouse and giving it for public or in other words public usage. So where as far as a business is concerned, where you will be requiring a public warehouse. As we have seen earlier, in your own premises, you are having a warehouse which is known as a private warehouse. But you are doing business not in that region alone. You are doing business outside, that region where you are located. It can be domestic. That means since we are in India, within India, or it can be outside or global. So there, you are sending your item. You have to keep it simple. You cannot have a private warehouse there. It is not feasible. So these sort of public warehouses are there, where you take it on lease or rent, either for a short period or a long period, and you keep your items. Then according to that delivery management process or the delivery requirement, you push it to reach your ultimate customer. This is what is public. Then there is another one, contract. Actually, I was telling this when I was explaining public itself. There are some individuals or some organizations, they have some additional space available, which they are ready to give it on lease for a long period to some outside party for keeping their items. That is known as contract warehouse, because in public warehouse, of course, there are also this leasing, everything is there, but it will be for I have very clearly said it will be according to the demand in that region. You will be holding that warehouse space. Whereas in contract, it is not like that. It will be either for a year or for 5 years or something like that. You take it on a long lease or long rental contract. I will give you a small example. I have seen, you might have heard about a company, Avery, which was manufacturing, this weighing scales. I don't know whether that company is there or not. I'm coming back to, warehouse, because in a place, Cochin, that is the port area, Wellington Island, they have a very big warehouse. Beautiful warehouse with all, you name any material handling system, it is available there, and good racking systems are available. And once this business is gone, what they have done, or in other words, their management has successfully converted that into a contract warehouse. They have made it into various compartments, and they were giving it long lease to various users. So Avery warehouse has become a public warehouse as well as a contract warehouse. That is what, you take a contract warehouse, some elements of private as well as some elements of public is in there. So this contract, mostly, we have some EXIM managing companies here, or in other words, export management companies are there. When they are having regular business to various places. Let us take in USA, San Francisco. So San Francisco, a lot of this contract warehouses are available. We can send an item from here, or in other words, this export managing company sends their customers items there, and it is being stocked there. So once you engage this service provider or this export managing company, you need not worry about your stocking of these items at the destination or at the port of landing, because that is being taken care by this export managing company, because of they are having a contract warehouses. Then the last one is bonded. Bonded, the word bonded means tied. So it is even though it is yours, you are not, you cannot, move things freely. That is what is known as bonded. Of course, this happens, first thing with customs only, customs bonded warehouses are there. I was mentioning about container freight stations, inland container depots and all that. So there, warehouses are there. So those warehouses are usually, bonded warehouses, because your item will be, kept there. Once you pay the custom duty only, you will be able to take your item out. That both inward as well as outward. Suppose you are sending out an item, you are taking this to a container freight station or inland container depot, it will be stopped there. Then customs will be inspecting it. Then once you pay your duty, immediately you can take it out to either a seaport or an airport. So usually this customs bonding is done through an act known as customs notified area. So you have to pay certain fees for a certain period. Once you pay that, it has to be cordoned off from your other businesses, that area. Even suppose you are a regular exporter, within your premises itself, you can have a separate place, your marked as customs bonded area. Only thing is you can put items in, you cannot go and take it out. Then I'll give you another example also, because I was working with a beverages manufacturing company. That is a company, which manufactures this beers and this foreign made liquors. So this is in Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu, there is only one customer, that is known as Tasbank. So within our premises, we had a warehouse. That warehouse is a bonded warehouse by Tasbank. So we get an intent for each day that what is manufactured will be taken inside and kept. After that we cannot take it out. Tasbank is responsible for the delivery management and of course payment, all those things, accordingly it will come to our account. That is one form of one. Then third one, sometimes you are having some excess finished good and which is in great demand also. You can bond it to a bank also for taking some funds. Only thing is, without bank's knowledge, you cannot take these things. So various types of bondages are there. So these are the, if you take mainly it is private and public only. The contract and bonding are other aspects of this categories. Now next comes layout of a warehouse. So layout, what is the meaning of a simple English word? Layout is schematic arrangement or arranging it on a scheme. Because see, in our house also, we keep furniture, so many items in a systematic way, so that why it is being done. So when we need it, it should be easily identifiable and accessible. So this is what is technique of scheme of arrangement in a right location, so that the greatest possible output of high quality and the lowest total cost can be achieved in a warehouse. So usually warehouse, a lot of practices are there, because lack of time, I have not added those slides into that. Various methods are there, like FIFO, LIFO, all those things. Because let me come with this last in first out, that is LIFO. Suppose some item is in great demand and the first dispatch or delivery or according to the delivery schedule given, the first item has to in the one day morning, the first item has to go. Let us call it as A item, then B, C. So you will be stacking your A item in the warehouse, or in the warehouse, that there is a location, clearly earmarked for shipping. That last item, you will be keeping is this item A, which has to go out first, or last in first out. This process happens, of course, in trucks also, or in containers also. because once you open it, which item you have to take first, you have to keep last. Then the factors to be considered on layout is first area of operation. You should be very clear, where this area of operation, because if it is a process plant, where it has to be located, and there are some requisites, for that. That is what is known as good access. Good access from where? Not only from within, but from outside also. Because from warehouse, it is being loaded into truck. So a truck should be able to come close to the warehouse. So that is why good access. That means there should be a road accessibility or a path accessibility should be outside that place you have earmarked for warehouse. Then provision for proper material handling and storage equipments. Whenever you come out with a new warehouse, initially you invest, because material handling and storage equipments means it is a fixed asset. So nobody wants to invest on something which is not required regularly. But you will have a provision at a later stage. Let me take one example. Overhead crane. You may not, because now you have started a new business. Your requirement is this much only. With a pillar crane, you are able to. Pillar crane means it is stationary and you can move it, rotate it, or some movable, material handling thing is there. You can manage with that. But at a later stage, you will be requiring an overhead crane. When your demand goes up and the quantum you are going to handle, it may be a year or it may be 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, something like that. But at that time, you cannot destruct this building or construct a new building for a warehouse. In other words, your layout should have proper reinforcement so that any material handling equipment can be put into place when the need arises, or fabricated when the need arises. And always, there is something, any warehouse, new warehouse you take, usually, you fill it up only to 2/3, and in some cases, it will not be even 2/3. The last, later, that some vacant space will be there, that is meant for, future development, or future requirements. So, types of layout. One is, the process layout, as it is shown, group resources based on similar processes. Because this happens, some specialized manufacturing units. For example, I have seen in one accessory manufacturing unit where they do have some major customers. Anyway, I'm not naming it. I mean, of course, I have seen it in an instrument manufacturing company only. They are supplying it to GE, they are supplying to some other customer. There are about 3 or 4 customers. So even their manufacturing facility itself is compartmentalized, or in other words, it is being grouped. So from the store, these components are issued, and here, from one stage, like I have shown earlier, that workstations, then each is having a different warehouse, or your warehouse space is divided into various groups like customer A, customer B, customer C, customer D, and this customer A warehouse is located near to that process A. Once the process area A, it is that finished good is ready, immediately it is moved there. So why it is so? Because that G or that customer A will be requiring certain type of packaging. The requirements for dispatch or delivery will be different from customer to customer. That is why they have done this. Anyway, this is possible only in the case of large quantum customers only. Then product. Arrange resources in straight line fashion. Because various processes will be there, like machining. Once it is machined, it will take a turn and go to drilling. So I'm just telling various things, just like that it will go, and straight line, it will the last stage will be painting. Once it is painted, it will go into that warehouse. Then fixed position. Fixed position is what is happening in many cases, like what do you say? This FMCG. You get a finished product, you just stock it there. That's all. Then straight through is some type of warehouse practice. I call it as warehouse practice. The best example I am getting is that of tire manufacturing units. Most of the tire manufacturing units, you can see there will be a place earmarked as warehouse, but you cannot see much tires stacked like all our other warehouses. Usually, once it is ready, it will be immediately loaded. Even automobile manufacturing also, once you manufacture a car or a truck, immediately it will be moved into your what do you say, your retailers place. So this is not as straight through. But of course, in automobile there is another warehouse is there. That is spare parts. That is a different thing. I'm talking about the finished product. So these are the usual 4 types of layout. Because the scheme of arrangement, even though building may be the same, but the scheme of arranging, will be different. I'm just showing you a very simple layout design. So some conditions are written there. Use one-story facilities. Usually all warehouses, the height of the warehouse will be high, and whenever you require more than one floor, you start putting up mezzanine floors. Mezzanine floors are temporary structure which you can remove if it is not required, and of course it has got a longer life also. So usually one-story facility only you plan when you go for a layout design. Then move goods in a straight line. With of course in between that you should have some space to move, which is known as ASL. Then use efficient material handling equipment, because this will delay in your stocking. Your stacking as well as retrieving. Stacking and retrieving both are important in a warehouse. Then use an effective storage plan, because what is to be kept, what not to be kept, and like the plants which is in high demand, which is in low demand. But of course it is required like that you should have a pakka storage plan. Then minimize ASL space. That is also there because why ASL? ASL is for movement of personnel as well as your material handling equipment such as wheelbarrows or even a forklift. And of course, there should be as minimum as possible. Then use maximum height of the building. This point already I told in the beginning itself. Now I am going to show you some space requirement. It's a very simple sketch only, I have shown in a warehouse. The first one, you can see receiving. I don't know whether you are seeing that arrow, I am showing. So receiving, this is from your in-house, from your process area, this comes receiving. Once it comes, you have an inspection. Inspection in the sense, the warehouse personnel, check, whether it is according to the requirement, customer requirement, or any outside damage is there or not at all. After that, they go for order picking, because if any customer requirement or customer that docket is there, they start picking it according to that customer orders, and you take it to another area which is known as order assembly. Why order assembly is for a particular customer. Let us take a carton. Carton means a corrugated box. That box is going to a particular customer. Let us say books to ASBM University. So ASBM University has ordered say some books on management. So what books on management? Finance management is there, marketing management is there, supply chain management is there, logistics management is there, etc., etc. So one order picking area, it will happen only for, okay, this ASBM University requires finance management by so and so 100 numbers, finance management by so and so, another other so and so, so much numbers. Like that, it will be picked and it will be taken to order assembly. Order assembly area, there is a earmarked area, ASBM University, it will be kept there. Once this order assembly, or in other words, ASBM University's order is fulfilled, it goes into the shipping area where you do the packing. It can be either in a single box, or it can be into various boxes. And all these boxes, we may even according to that, or in other words, quantum, it may even be in a big container also. So that is the last stage. And shipping area, you can see on the right side, I have shown a space, this is where, the trucks will come. In between that, I have shown, some spaces known as storage and miscellaneous. Storage, because let us now this example of a publisher's business. So books, finance management by author A, finance management by author B. All these things, will be coming in certain volume. Each volume will have a particular number. So those after issuing for ASBM order, balance is kept in the storage place. So once another customer order comes, immediately it is being taken from there. That miscellaneous is an area where some checking, sometimes some requirements by customers, they will be giving, they will say some RFID tag has to be put in each product or book or whatever it is. So such things you will have to carry out in that, not in the shipping area or order assembly area, because it will be congested and various other, there is a chance of mixing up with various other demands. So this miscellaneous area is utilized for that. Then of course to manage and make the documents, everything, there is an office space is available. This is only a very simple form of warehouse I have shown, and the space requirements. This according to your need, you can make it large, you can make it less, like that. And one thing I'll tell you nowadays, because I myself was working we never used to occupy the floor space as office. Always it will be on the first, that is mezzanine floor is there, it will be on the top. So the floor space is completely used for this finished good movement only. Why it is the office is on the top means you are able to look at or in other words, you need not come out from your office each time giving instructions and all that. You can see from there and through your communication systems. You can instruct the concerned people and can correct them or ask them to about some urgent requirement and all those things. That is one point I wanted to tell you. Now I am showing another layout. This is some sort of a pictorial representation. What I have shown you that earlier is now shown in this form. You can see the last thing, one guy near that truck area, 1, 2, 3, 4 areas are there. It is meant for all way for customers. So that is known as the shipping area. Then your customer order area, all these things. Then stacking, everything is. I think that thing to this will be clear. Now I will show another. There is two types of warehouses. One is a spare parts warehouse. Anything, whether it is an instrument, whether it is a automobile manufacturing unit, or any other engineering product like pump, valve, or whatever it is. Spare part is a must. So spare parts, definitely, so long as you are in the business, you have to have a spare part warehouse, which is manned separately. So such a spare part warehouse I am showing, and definitely that spare part warehouse, the space requirements will be large because the quantum you are handling will be large. So this is only a very small machine tool manufacturing unit, because some drilling or machine or lathe manufacturing company, it is their spare part warehouse I am showing. Now the same companies manufacturers warehouse I am showing, where all finished good, that is that machine which is ready for consumption, because that cards are there, even they might have manufactured this for some dealer or some customer, everything is there, that accordingly warehouse will be taking control of that and see that it is being moved out now. Just to get you the feel of that two different type of warehouses. The point I want to stress here is it is the same product, but they are manning, or they have grouped their warehouse into two different entities, and accordingly your stacking requirements, material handling requirements, your inventory standards, everything will be different. So that's just an example of again, this is a beverages manufacturing unit only I have shown. Beverages means something like your Pepsi Cola, Coca-Cola, all these things. It's all ready packed and it's ready for. You can see a forklift and that actually that door place is. Get that photograph. It is ready. The truck is there. It is being taken up and kept in there. But here, I would like to come out with the new developments because here, it's all depending on some semi-automated material handling as well as manual handling. Now things have changed, because you are having, conveyor systems. In other words, your finished good, is put on a conveyor. Conveyor can be pushed as well as automate through automation. It will move from one area to another area till the exit, and from there, you can even take it to the your truck or container, whatever is there, for taking out that item. These are right now some of the changes which has happened. This is also another manufacturing unit. Actually, this is that of a HVAC warehouse. I'm showing HVAC means heating, ventilating, and air cooling, like cooling plants, air conditioners, air coolers, all these things. This is the actual photograph of a company where I have worked. This place is in Doha, Qatar, and the length of the warehouse is around 700 meters. That is almost a kilometer. And you can see a bike there. Actually, morning, my assistant, will be going in that bike, to the furthest end, and he will be issuing what, according to the display plan, what is to be taken out and kept, all those things. Here again, I want to tell you, things have changed now. There is no question of bike, all those things. It is all, the company has gone for automated storage and retrieval systems, where the machine moves, and it is numerically controlled. You give your requisites into that, feed that into that machine. It takes out, brings it to the conveyor system, and once it is on the conveyor system, it automatically moves to the next station, perhaps for packing or documenting wherever it is. The same place what I have shown, this is something happened around 10 years back. It is a photograph of 2001. Now it is 2020. They have completely automized this place into a fully automated area with robots also. So that is what they have, when they have planned this warehouse. We were resorting to certain type of activities, and now the activities have changed, but the premises, or in other words, the layout is the same. That is what that now you will be able to understand the importance of long-term planning when you plan a layout. You cannot, things will be changing, technology will be changing. You need not, you cannot change your layout. Layout, will remain the same, but only the systems you are implementing there will be different. Managing a warehouse. So, run through systems which execute inventory planning commands and run day-to-day operations of a warehouse. This is what is managing a warehouse. And nowadays, everything is through softwares only. Something known as WMS is the warehouse management systems. According to your, so this is being developed, according to your organization's policy. And some of the ERP, something certain WMS will be compatible with ERP, which is another, enterprise resource planning, which is part of a supply chain, whole supply chain, where your supplier as well as your customer is there. Inside that, your warehousing management system is also embedded or compatible. Or sometimes some of the ERPs will have, WMS itself. No problem. So, I'm showing you, what is this management system or warehouse management system. It has got three elements. One is service, next one is hardware, this is technology. Let me tell you, anything, any business process you take, it should have a system, and that system should have a service, should be ably supported by a hardware, again both supported by technology. So on the left side, since this is warehouse system, I am showing warehouse. If it is something logistics, you call it as logistics. Transportation, you say the transportation. That is the difference. So let us see what is that warehouse services. First one, proper receipt. Whatever is entered, should be properly entered into as well as checked. Then safe custody. Suppose it has to be kept, you have to keep it in a safe place without damaging the product or anything. Nothing should happen to that product. Then preservation. Preservation, mainly this happens in the case of liquids and any beverages. So proper preservation. Suppose you require certain temperature controlled environment, yes, you require such freezers or refrigerators or some space where you should not transform the product quality. This can happen, not see, when I say this, everybody will be thinking about perishable items, vegetable items, drinks only. No, it can be engineering items also. Certain items. For example, I'll tell you. I hope you might have heard about cryogenic items. Cryogenic item means something manufactured under 0 degree centigrade, and that has to be kept under 0 degree centigrade till the point of consumption. Usually in nuclear applications, rocket, that is space applications everywhere. This is the warehouse, wherever it is transported, everybody should have this facility to preserve it. Then welding rods. Welding rods, it is not. It is just ulta of what I have told, or just opposite of what I have told earlier. Certain welding rods has to be kept under certain temperature, that is above the room temperature level. Then you should have, your warehouse should have, certain temperature controlled chambers where this rods will be kept, and which will be taken out again in a container which is controlled, with this temperature till it reaches the end user. So this is what is preservation. Apart from that, rubber items, so many items, which is kept for a long time, oxidation will happen and it can transform the quality of the product. There, you will have to keep, items, that preservatives are there. In the case of rubber items, it is chalk powder. If it is, this sort of studs, nuts, all these things, it is oil, or sometimes oil paper will be there, or sometimes in the container itself you will be pouring oil, and it will be lying. It will be kept in the oil itself so that it will not rust, or any other deformation will not happen. Then issue to various users and customers. And this is very easy nowadays, I will tell you, because each day, the previous day itself, what is to be done tomorrow, and this is visible. Visibility is there, it is not being transmitted from one authority to another authority. It is visible to all, till a packer. Because if you take a warehouse, the last great personnel available is warehouse picker, then packer, then one supervisor will be there, one executive will be there, one manager will be there. All these people will know, today what has to go out to whom, what is the plan, what is that packing standards, they have given. All these informations are available. So accordingly, they will take it and hand it over to the next workstation. Very important, physical and financial accounting. This, of course, at the end of the year, every organization, business should know where we are standing, where we are running a business successfully or not. As I have shown there, total cost covers so many factors. You might have seen the warehousing cost. That is the discussion today. Inventory carrying cost already we discussed. Now warehousing cost. Warehousing cost is also very important. It is in the interest of each warehouse to see that there should not be any item lying for more than a specified period. So how a warehouse manager or people who are manning warehouse can come out of this problem, if any such problem arises. That is where the communication. First, they will have to communicate to the process area. Where for example, an item, let us say X item is available, and because of some problem at some distributors or retailers or distributors place, this item is not moving out as per the dispatch plan, so it is getting stagnant. Suppose this information is passed on to that process management or manufacturing management area, they can divert, they can even put a temporary hold up on this particular product known as X, and they can finish other items like Y, Z, like that. Then same information go to the planners, go to the marketing people, where marketing guys have to take the rectified action. Even logistics service providers, they have to work on this to see that it is being moved and go back to the normal, or in other words, normal flow to happen. And again, these, as I have told you earlier, all these things are easy nowadays because of the software, or in other words, the technology support. There is something known as EPS, which is known as, the expansion is electronic point of sale. Electronic point of sale means, from warehouse an item is moving out, means as far as their business is concerned, it is a sale. So once you make out your bill and it is moving out, that much stock has come down. So this information is going into all connected workstations, and once it moves out, also for example, distribution area also, this sort of things are happening. Even at the retailer, some of these items are there. Electronic point of sale is happening in the case of pharmaceuticals, because this pharmacy, once nowadays, it is everything through electronic thing only is happening. This is being transmitted, to the retailer, to wholesaler to that manufacturer, or in other words, manufacturer's warehouse, like that. So at the end of the day, as far as a drug manufacturing unit is concerned, he knows, what for example, you take India, what has been sold, on that day, and what has come down at retailers' place, what has come down at wholesalers' place, such sort of information is available in your fingerprint, and many people, manning these things, they can have this at their mobile itself, through mobile phone, you can manage this. Now, this is the second thing of warehouse system, I'm telling, that is hardware, first and foremost, it is material handling equipments, then dock leveler. Material handling equipment, I have shown a warehouse, where that material handling equipments, that stacks, or in other words, shelves, that is an equipment. Then you can see a forklift, which can, without the man going up, it can lift it to the highest point of shelf. Then dock leveler. Look at that second diagram I have shown. Dock leveler, because it is something, from one. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. From one level to another level, make an item to move smoothly. That is what is meant by leveler. So dock leveler means two surfaces. Two surfaces means two docks. So from one dock to another dock. Here, it is shown a truck. A truck's platform is higher than that warehouse floor area. So a dock leveler is put, and a forklift is moving up, holding an item which will be going inside the truck and stacking it. Then pallets. You can look at the third photograph I have shown. They are known as pallets. Pallets is is an integral part of packing, which helps you to lift it and put it down, without causing any damage for the finished good. Otherwise, imagine, a case, that is a carton made up of cardboard or corrugated. A forklift is coming, and with its tongue, it is lifting by mistake. It's a man-operated machine only. Sometimes, the packet is pierced through inside that, as I said, beverage, that is Pepsi or Coca-Cola, some bottles are there, it will all get damaged. Whereas it is palleted, so it will get lifted, with that tongue or of the forklift, will go inside the pallet, and with this pallet it will be lifted, or in other words, the package gets lifted up and goes inside the container or truck or whatever it is. Then automated storage, as I said earlier, many organizations are resorting to this sort of thing, automated storage, to reduce the number of people. It is not, let me tell you, it is not the question of reducing the number of people, because people involvement in storage takes so much time, because human has got a limitation. First of all, reading something, then identifying the area, then where it has to be kept, putting it at the right place, everything takes up such time. So to reduce that lead time in stocking or storage, automated storage things have come, where you feed in the information, this machine or the robot will automatically put it in place within no time. Then warehousing and various types of warehousing equipments are there. Because the time is short, I am not going deep into that, because I have not included that slides also. But if somebody requires, at a later stage, I can share it with you. At the end of my presentation, I have given my email ID also. Your doubts or anything you require, any information you require more than what I have shown now, I will be too happy to share it with you. Now the third part is technology in a warehouse. This tracking system. Now tracking system, GPS is there, RFID. RFID tags are, radio frequency identification and detection. Usually, the tags, will be fixed, in a warehouse itself. And once it is fixed, it will immediately move out. And through GPS systems also, you can track, the movement of these things. Then barcode, now I think nowadays everybody knows about barcode. Even a pen, nowadays you buy is having a barcode. Because lot of informations are embedded into through certain lines. These lines are nothing but electromagnetic lines, where a lot of information is fed, like from where the raw material has come, who is the raw material supplier. Whoever wants, that particular information can track that. If you are having a decoder, you can track that information. For example, a soap, toilet soap, it is going into a shopping mall. The guy at the warehouse, guy at the shopping mall, he is decoding. He will be getting this information, who is the manufacturer, who is the distributor. Only that information, he won't be getting the information on who is the raw material supplier, where in which plant of this manufacturer it is been manufactured. Such details will not be there. What is required for that shopping mall only will be there, in his decoder. So various decoders will be there. Through that, you will be able to extract that information and embed into your system for further processing. Then enterprise IT solutions, I said ERP, and now e-business is there. E-business has already taken. Our market is flooding with a lot of e-business things, including, calling a transport facility, calling getting a food, then procuring your items. And as far as business is concerned, you can even get your items, through e-business portals are there. Through e-business portals, you can. Because earlier when I was discussing this inventory control, I have shown you something about, or I have briefly explained about surplus. This surplus you can dispose through this e-business portals. You can say that this is available. Let me tell you, even households are is doing. I'll tell my own experience. My wife used to utilize this. When we were shifting to a new house, we wanted to dispose certain furniture. She has just taken a photograph, put and what price she is expecting. There were a lot of inquiries, and ultimately she chose one buyer, and that buyer came and just checked, paid the fees amount, and taken the material. Same way, we also have procured certain items, because sometimes we get certain antique items through these e-portals. So even getting a regular a raw material or whatever it is, you can go through these e-portals. Even you can do negotiations, everything. Then customized software development. That is, you develop according to your requirement. That is where the companies like Infosys, Wipro, all these people are there. They are developing customized software for banks, various banks they used to do. Now, they have gone into the areas of shipping management and this logistics service, then tracking. So many things are there, even billing, delivering, everything, according to each customer's requirements, these sort of companies, like I'm just mentioning two companies only, Wipro or TCS or this Infosys, they develop. Of course, when I told about TCS, this passport, now this passport seva kendras, you can see they have developed a customized software for operation of passports, that is receiving applications, processing and issuing a passport, and even manning that, because being a customized software, they themselves, TCS itself is manning that passport seva kendras, where you see when you go for getting renewing or getting a passport, you see the face of a passport official at the end of the line or at the fag end of the line only, where he will be the authorized signatory. All other activities are done through this thing. And the result earlier, it took months for getting a passport, whereas you are able to get it within days. Okay, now I'm going to the I have just shown a photograph of making this is happening in a warehouse, because this bar codes are made with a barcoding machine, that labels are there, barcodes are made. So these codes, when the packing guys, or warehouse packers are there, they will pick up these rolls. And if it is a machine, they will put it in the machine, or if it is manual, they will take that and paste it on the finished good.
Excuse me, sir. Madam,
Yeah.
there is one question from Aravind, sir. He is asking, what is the difference between contract and bonded in categories of warehouse?
Yeah, categories of warehouse, I have already said that contract warehouse is taken for a longer period, because you require a place other than your regional domain. You have to have a warehousing facility. You go for you cannot construct your own. You cannot go for a private warehouse. You cannot invest on that. You take up somebody's place and you operate it. An example I can give: in every city, you can see this Bata shoe company is there. They are taking this on lease. Then sometimes steel manufacturers, they also take this on lease. Then cement manufacturers, they also take this on lease. Contract warehouses. From there, it is being distributed to the retailers. Now, you please look at this basic warehouse decisions. You can see, ownership, either private or public. I think this will partially answer, to that question. There is only private and public is there. That contract and bonded, everything is an extension of these two only. So ownership is private, either yours or somebody, some entity is having a facility, fully facilitized warehouse is there. You take it on lease. Then how many? Then centralized or decentralized. Again, centralized means from a single place everything is distributed. Then decentralized thing also will be there. We can take various products. Let us say Indian gas. Indian gas, in every region, they will have a centralized place. Then they have decentralized into various regions. Because I am not because I am stationed at Chennai. If I take Chennai, see Chennai, there is centralized. Chennai does not have a centralized Indian gas storage. They have decentralized it into 3 regions, say north, south, and central. So that is some sort of a centralized place, in that region. So let us take central region. Central region, they divide it into various sub-regions. That is known as decentralized. From these decentralized regions, it will be replenished to various retailers. Retailers means from where we get our, or in other words, gas agents. That is one thing. Then another example, some food chains are there. Because in Chennai is there, some big food chains are there. They have got a centralized chain. One particular restaurant is there. The coffee. That coffee decoction. That coffee decoction is available only or at the centralized warehouse. From there, they send it to where other units. So that is why from a place, from X place, you drink coffee, and you come back to another place, say Z, you will have the same taste. That the coffee decoction is being operated through centralized warehouse system, whereas certain other things is operated through decentralized system, like consumables, like some say vegetables or something like that. See, this is in the case of a restaurant chain. I have given this example. You can take a lot of products, like this. Then beverages, this is happening. Then once you decide on what should be, sometimes you may require a centralized as well as decentralized. Both warehouses you will be requiring. Then you have to see what size you require, where is the location, what is the interior layout you have planned, all these things. So this is what as a person, logistics manager or warehouse manager, these are the basic warehousing decisions you may have to take. What is the importance in distribution? I think already I have mentioned this. Anyway, just to show you, in a supply chain scenario, distribution is the vital element in meeting the customer demand. Distribution activity is initiated from a warehouse only, where packaging, transportation, and control are the major operations from a warehouse. Many of the warehouse managers, will be controlling the transportation till it reaches the next area. For example, if it is a export, the warehouse will be warehouse personnel will be monitoring it till the port of destination. Once it reaches the port of destination, the other agent will be there. He will be taking care, and he will see that it reaches the end consumer. But even that information will be shared, and they will be monitoring it. This happens in every. So warehouses, according to the type of the product and according to the type of operation, according to your clientele, it will be different. But one thing is sure, packaging is being done in your warehouse itself. Then of course, transportation, selecting the mode of transport, and monitoring the transport, or getting the transport, or giving the schedule for transport, everything is done. And another thing is that nowadays all these things are also being given to subcontractors known as, or in other words, some service providers known as your 3PL, Some of the 3PL, they are having warehousing facilities also. So once your finished good is ready, they just take it and they will do warehousing on your behalf. They will do packaging on your behalf, and they will do the transportation once according to your delivery plan. Now I am showing this basic warehouse operations. I hope you will be remembering that simple sketch I have shown of a warehouse operation. From that input, at that time I said it is coming from the process area. So there, receiving, you have to do all these activities. But these don't think that that there are 4 activities shown. All these 4 activities will not be happening simultaneously in any business. This is in one of my organization where I was working. This is what in our company we used to do. That is why it is shown. Then warehouse process area. There you can see 4 blocks. What is put away, then storage, then put away. What is put away? Put away means, in simple language, I will tell you, a customer might be requiring 8 type of items. He has ordered 8 type of items with various quantities. So 7 items are ready. And the 8th item is under WIP, or in other words, work in process. It may take 1 or 2 days to complete that. So what you do, you cannot move that to storage area. So you have to keep it at a place identified. It is awaiting for this 8th item, that is known as put away counters, put away cabins. So many things you can say. Once that item comes, you update your record and move it to the storage area. From storage, it goes to order picking to shipping preparation. That activities I have shown. Please don't think that in every warehouse this is happening. This actually in a company where I was working, these were the plans. So this schematic diagrams we have made, because the place, as I said, we were working. Many guys cannot, if you give a warehouse manual, they cannot read it and understand it. Instead of that, show it as operation chart. They are able to, work according to that. For easy understanding of we prepared this. That last one is shipping and down. Then let us see the main functions of a warehouse. As anyway, in any management thing, we call there will be a primary function and there will be a secondary function. And primary is to provide service to the operating functions at an optimal cost. Because then the secondary is objective its objective is to provide a communication link, because nowadays this is very important. We are saying that EPOS. The EPOS means somebody has to make an entry. If I thought that today, it is 7 o'clock, now I have to go back home, that I will make the entry tomorrow means within this 12 to 18 hours, lot of things, lot of queries may come, because my customer will be across the globe where it is daytime for him, and he will be communicating with my superiors. So I cannot, EPOS means, I should not forget it to enter it. And some advanced versions of EPOS is also there. Once you scan it, automatic information is available. That is what is getting reflected, when you track, any of your items you have sent through this DHL or FedEx, They do the scanning only. Nobody is sitting there and entering it, so that it has left the station from where you have put it. It has reached the next station. From there, it is being consolidated and moved on to the third place. From there, it has gone to the customs place. Customs inspection is over. Like that, it's all through scanning. You are able to get the latest information. So anyway, that communication link or networking is very important. So keeping, even though technology is there, updating that technology as well as troubleshooting of that networking problems should be very, very careful, because you are always, somebody there should be there to monitor this and keep it track. Otherwise, it will upset your business plans. Then activities. Again, I have listed a lot of activities here. Doesn't mean that all these things are happening simultaneously in a place. But the first two, definitely it is happening. Receiving this, that you have seen that diagram. Then inspection. Inspection doesn't mean that quality inspection or anything. It is just a visual inspection, whether any damage is there or packet. If some, for example, if it is a bottle, bottle is filled, and it is coming from the manufacturing area. If any damage on the bottle is there, it has to be earmarked and kept separately. It should not go into the repacking area. Because why I use the word repacking? Many times, the package that when I discuss about packaging, you will see. Packing, has got two aspects. One is primary packing and secondary packing. An item is ready, immediately you cover it up with something to prevent damage. Any damage, is known as primary packaging. For example, a toilet soap, you cover it with a oil paper. That is the primary packaging. When it goes inside a carton, that carton is a secondary packaging. That carton, goes into a corrugated box. Corrugated box is also a secondary packaging. This corrugated boxes consolidated goes inside a container. Again, container is also a secondary packaging. So unpacking means, from each secondary package, you remove it and take it out. And at the end, the consumer. That is, I am using the toilet soap. When I want to use it, I pull it out from the carton. Then I remove the oil paper, I start using it. Or in other words, I start consuming it. Then put away. Put away, I have already said, like this, put away counters will be across the globe also. Because sometimes, the customer will say, okay, you send these items, let the 8th item wait, because once these 7 items reach there, some process is there like customs inspection, paying of duties, all those things, they will take care. And once, they finish that, because if for that, some or in other words, booking it will take some time. By that time, this item will also reach there, and so that put away counter, put away cabin or whatever put away facility should be available there also. So once that 8th item comes, there will not be any confusion. It goes to that put away thing, because already 7 items are left for the consumer. This is the 8th one. It goes there. It will not find a place in some other place. So it again, it is all, it's a keeping, or where the stock has to be kept. Then sorting again, when when it goes, on geographic locations, it goes from, it reaches there, from there again, it is being diverted where exactly it has to go. This is not a sorting. Sorting is an activity, because the best example is post office. Post office, you can see the letters, you're giving. One sorter will be there, various pigeon holes will be there, marking, Bangalore, Calcutta, Gujarat, something like that, they will be just throwing it there. Then again from there somebody takes it again, he is sorting it out. Same way, when it reaches the destination also, this activity happens, sorting, or we can call it as desorting. If in a container you call it as, stuffing. Then once it reaches the place of destination, de-stuffing, opening it and pulling it out. Then packing and shipping. Shipping means, just sending it, either it can be through a road transport, any mode of transport, whatever, you have to do, the documents, required documents, all those things. Then cross-docking. Cross-docking is a process. I don't know whether anybody has heard, it is actually an activity carried out at some place without the presence of a warehouse. Usually, it will be from one mode of transport to another mode of transport, it will go. One small example I'll tell you. You might have read it the last two or 3 days about this Rafale aircrafts were coming from France to be delivered to India. Is the customer. Indian Air Force is the customer. France, that manufacturer Rafale company, France is the manufacturer. So he is sending that 5 Rafale aircrafts. Of course, it is manned by Indian pilots only. It is being supported by a tanker aircraft. Tanker means it is carrying, this aerolite. That is the fuel for this aircraft. The problem with these sort of fighters, this jet fighters are there. It will have a capacity of 5,000 liters only, not like our passenger planes, which will have gallons and gallons of capacity. So you cannot, come to an airport or land into an airport again after refueling, go up. That is why this tanker aircraft is going, and from the air itself, which aircraft requires refueling, or let us use the word, inventory language, replenishing, it is being done from the air itself. And definitely this is being counted, what is to be done for that from the ground, the amount, all those things, building, everything is happening from the ground, that funds transfer, everything is happening, but the activity is happening in the air from one mode of transport, that is tanker aircraft, to this fighter aircraft. This is something known as cross-docking. Same thing, happens in the case of shipping, because this word cross-docking has come from shipping. Why, cross-docking is earlier days. You take, now India is having a lot of major ports where, big ships are able to come to your port. Earlier days, always these big ships will be anchoring in the outer sea. And there will be small vessels like barges or small ships or small boats. They will take all these items from there and bring it to the main port. So this activity was known as cross-docking. So cross-docking, nowadays happens, everywhere. In road transport, this happens. Mainly in milk, this will be happening. Because from one main, this milk plant, one big, because it's a refrigerated or reefer truck, will be going, and one particular location is reached, there will be various retailers, trucks will be there. So from this truck, it will be transported or transshipped to the retailers' trucks. Again, here, that policy planning, as I said, LIFO, last in, first out. So, which is the first truck, which first retailer coming, that should be stacked in the last. So, the LIFO practice will be happening. I hope you have understood about cross-talking. Then various types of cross-talking is there, that is all in detail, the cross-talking is a big chapter, in this warehousing management. Then replenishing activity. Many warehouses, as I earlier said, now the system is known as EPOS is there. Once you know that this particular item has come down the or reached the reorder level at the distributor's place, you don't have to wait for the distributor's call. You just start your dispatch or delivery planning. These things. So these are the main activities happening in a warehouse. Now, something, making a unit load. Because bringing together a number of individual items of identical configuration so as to make a large load, which ensures convenience during storage and transportation. This is, again, toilet soap I'll take, because a toilet soap manufacturing unit have different brands. So each brand, they will have different boxes or cases. And all these cases together, they will make it into a big container. Means it is from Unilever. Unilever, this container is having the sandalwood soap, 8 cases, then some other, say, brand of soap, 10 cases, like that information will be there. That is one sort of consolidation. Then consolidation will also happen, for a particular customer. For example, a particular customer is there, he has given you an order for a full container load of different type of items. In that case, as I said, that particular container will be closed at your premises with all different varieties of items, required for him, and will be opened at his stores only. That is also one. Then standardization, standardization again, for dispatching and transport planning purposes, you standardize on various types of items, and sometimes, you will have to take care because Unilever you take, Unilever is into toiletries, then into some chemicals that is required for washing, then required for then beverages, drinking. Since it is Unilever, doesn't mean that everything will go in one container. It will have different containers. That is standardized on consumable and non-consumable, and then hazardous. Actually, I forgot to add one slide, something known as hazardous. That is very important nowadays. Hazardous, hazardous means which is can cause damage. So it has to be handled or operated with caution at each stage, right from receipt till it is being packed and sent. So there is something known as IMDG practice. So IMDG codes are there. This IMDG practices is being classified. Hazardous items are classified into 9 categories. This 1 to 8. First one is because I forgot about that table. Different tables are there, and that last 9 is something which is not coming out. All these 8. You put it into category 9. And this has got some codes because your package should definitely have that sticker, and that handling of that will be different. Keeping up of that item will be different. Even in a warehouse, certain, for example, category 1, category 2 or category 3 of hazardous goods will be kept in a different not area, it will be outside your regular premises, or you will have an extension of your warehouse for the organizations which handle these sort of hazardous goods. Warehouse storage requirements. Because when you plan your storage requirements, there are 4 major points you have to look into. That is, an item must be found when it is required. Very simple. Must be possible to issue orders to stock without undue effort. That is the way in which you keep the items. Then the item must be in good condition while issuing. So that always, you should inspect and see that no damage is happening. Then must be possible to use handling equipment easily and quickly without risk. That is how your packaging specialists are there, or material handling experts are there. They will be designing this systems, your material handling systems like that. That is why I said many of these warehouses have gone for this conveyor systems, where roller conveyor or belt conveyor, something like that, which can be operated either through manually or electrically or electronically, or by numerically controlled system, or because sensors will be there. Once you keep an item, that item automatically takes you to the next item, next workstation. Then it is being taken there, for doing further process, just like that. So order picking and storage equipment. So part to picker systems. Pick location travels through an automated machine to the picker. That's what I said, because the robotics are there, some equipments are there, it comes to you only, you will have to, because just now I said, sensors are there, once, that comes to your place, it stops, then you have to put, or, you have to take out that item, either pick or part through automated thing. Now, instead of an individual, even robotics is also employed. Robot means it's a mechanical item only, which can sense, the arrival, and it knows what has to be done, the next. So either picking or parting, it does. And some equipments, you cannot call it as equipments. Some accessories used, for this. First one is carousels, horizontal and vertical. It is nothing but some sort of a vessel where you can put these items. Then conveys, as I said, which moves. An automated storage system, ASRS. I think this you might be hearing, automated storage and retrieval system. Most of the manufacturing facilities and distribution centers, it is used. So these machines, fortunately, I am not having that diagram right now. Because see, one thing, what all I have left, if you people, contact me, I can definitely share it, with you through email. This ASRS, imagine, a big box, a cube, with a great height. Over that, lot of small bins are there. It is being, like your cycle chain, it is being rotated. So in front of you, one array of bins are there. In that, one particular type of or one group of components are there. Then either you pull a lever or you give a signal, it moves to the next row. And that row, another group of bits are there. Again, a lot of other components are there, like umpteen number of components in lakhs and lakhs of components can be stored. It's all meant for small components only in a single area. The advantage is your warehouse space, especially in spare parts warehouse, your space is being can save the space, because this requires only let us say 3 into 3 3 feet into 3 feet, just an example, don't go strictly by the dimensions and I'm showing. With that and some 6 feet height is there, a lot of components you can store instead of moving into spreading into the floor. Hello.
How many slides are remaining, sir?
Yeah, 10 more slides are there.
No,
it won't take much time. I think by 15 minutes I can finish.
okay.
Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The identification of material is very important now, because how you are identifying is through classification and codification. This was happening earlier days also, because manually also you require classification, means each item into different thing and give a code for that for identifying and entering, because this is required right from the manufacturing till billing, you require this, and monitoring also you require these codes. So that advantages I have shown, that is quick and easy identification, proper material control, then secrecy of materials, and of course saving of time in material handling. Even when manual handling was there, because of a code is given, immediately they will be able to identify it instead of reading about that description of the material. That was the advantage. And the wrong issue, eliminating the factors. So there were 3 types of systems, numerical means all numbers only will be there. 9 digit, 8 digit, 6 digit, whatever it is. Then alphabetical, because you put only alphabets like A, B means that is A means air, B means blower, air blower, something like that. Then alphanumeric, this is widely used alphanumeric codification system. Whereas electrical means E, then switch means S, then type of switch is some dimension is there, you call it as ES001, means it is a particular type of switch which is having a code 001. So example of codification I have just shown for the participants to understand. It's a very simple classification. E for electrical, G for glassware, and where it is used. Laboratory it is different, miscellaneous glass is different. I am sure you'll be able to understand this. One small example of codification, how it is being done. It's a capital equipment. That first digit is item type, that double digit, next one is generic group, that is capital equipment. Then third one is subgeneric group, whether it is a mixer, press. Then last one is 3 number is running serial number 001, 002, like that. Like this, for everything, you can make it. Just to have a feel of how coding is done, I have just shown these slides. Now, packaging, I have been earlier mentioning about this primary packaging and secondary packaging, and shipping packaging is nothing but our containers. So containerization, this process is known as containerization. It is meant for intermodal transport. So intermodal transport means you are loading this into a truck from your warehouse. From your warehouse, it is being transshipped into another mode of transport, either a ship or an aircraft or whatever it is. Till it reaches the mode of, the landing place, it travels, and sometimes even to your customer's place, it will be traveling. And it is got standardized dimensions because there is some body known as ICS, International Chamber of Shipping is there. They have come out with various specifications. So everything is common only. That usually used are 20 foot and 40 foot only. Then air cargo also, different type of containers are there. Here, IATA, that is International Air Travel Transporting Authorities, there, they have come out with various standardized dimensions. Now I am showing you a sea freight container. This is a 40 foot container. Then I am showing an air cargo container. This will be of very lightweight. Compared to both these, the other one is heavy. This one is lightweight, and of course, that technical details of that is shown on the right hand side. Now there is another process known as warehouse milk run. Milk run, as the name indicates, collecting of usually in milk, this is happening. They distribute the milk, and on the way back, they collect the empty bottles or empty racks as well as the raw material. So instead of sending an item, or you save a lot on your transportation cost, with this. And of course, your facility cost is also being saved. You plan your day's activity, give a schedule, and see the geographic locations. Accordingly, you work out your route. Choose the mode of transport. If only one mode of transport is required, have that. Then you allocate that schedule to them. So with one go, the thing will come back after delivering as well as collecting. Then hub and spoke. This is also another one, because sometimes from your warehouse, items will be collected. Let us take a big, transporter's name, TCI. TCI is, big truck will not be coming into your place. A small truck, will be coming and collecting it. Then they will take it to a hub, where the sorting, all those activities will be happening, and it will be loaded into a truck, which goes to your place of destination. So just to make you understand, here I am showing you two sketches that of a milk run as well as a hub and spoke. So milk run, you can see on the left side, that 4 trucks are going. You plan made your schedule, and one single truck is going and doing all the rounds, meeting the 4 stations and coming back. So you save a lot on your transportation cost as well as facility cost. And hub and spoke is something like this, because everything is converged, like the spokes of a wheel, converged to a place. Then it is being cross-docked to a different things, and it reaches the place where. For example, you are sending an item to US, some place, say Santa Clara. The item from here, will be going. It will not go to Santa Clara, even though Santa Clara is having an airport. It doesn't have a cargo handling facility. Only the nearest airport, San Francisco, is having. So it will go to San Francisco. From San Francisco is the hub. Various places, small places. The items are coming there. Then it is cross-docked to the flight to Santa Clara, or if it is a road, truck, or sometimes it will maybe train, that is goods train. It will be tranship to a truck, rail carriage. that will happen. This happens in the case of this nowadays ports also. Some of the seaport has been converted into transshipment terminal. First transshipment terminal in India has come up in Vallarpadam, that is near Cochin, where the items, these big ships are coming there, and from the ship, it is being big gantry cranes are there, the railway lines are there, goods trains are coming nearer to the ship. It is being transshipped, from the ship directly to the the rail carriage, then to truck, then on the water, some barge or small vessels will be there. It is being done. This is what is known as hub and spoke, which takes you to the right destination. So the thing is, again, here that cross-docking thing is happening without going to a warehouse and coming back. Saves time and faster delivery is happening. Then some of the legislation happening to warehouses. Earlier days, it was coming under Factories Act, because if it is a factory, it comes under factory. If it is a distribution agency, Shop and Establishment Act. And definitely both these places, electrical inspectorate. If you are using any electrical items in your warehouse, electrical inspectorate will be there. Then of course local body administration like Panchayat, municipality, corporation, all these things will be there. And if you are handling any fluids, hazardous or non-hazardous, anything, and gases, pollution control board will come. Then of course earlier we have seen, warehouse, modern warehouse, Customs Act will be there. Now, except this customs thing, all other 5 things have come and has been nested under one body or organization or authority, which is known as Warehousing Development Regulatory Authority by Government of India, which is working under the Food and Public Distribution Department. Why public? This Department of Food and Public Distribution is, they had already this experience of manning this FCI, Food Corporation of India warehouses. So I have shown, the mission of this WD RA. You have to register it under that. In 2007 only this has come, and instead of going to all the other 4 areas, this authority, will in turn do, because you register it with this body in turn, will coordinate with all of the other bodies. Except that bonded thing, customs bonded all these things, that is a different area. All other bodies, this WDRA will take care of all that. Then, of course, I wanted to discuss this. I'll do one thing, people who are interested in this, because this is a company where I have worked. It's a control valve manufacturing unit with technical collaboration with the US, and the production method is job order. Accessories were 4 types. Setting up of a ancillary unit for these accessories, because we had a lot of this problem of put away, because it is a valve. The accessory is not ready. So our put away was increasing in large quantity, where our facility had to be expanded. Thought of going for something new, go for an ancillary unit exclusively to manufacture these accessories in a different way, because the production type here, because many of people who are experienced with engineering, knows what is a job order and a batch order, because job order means just for a particular customer according to his requirement, or it is tailor-made, whereas batch means you make it standardized, you make. So earlier the problem was all these accessories were part of this job order. that we have separated and made it into a batch type, and even a different unit was set up, where we will make all these things ready and send it to the main unit, so they don't have to wait just for these 4 types of accessories. So that in detail it is there. I am not putting there, but whichever student is interested and then send me the mail, I'll send that case study to them. But only the salient points I have taken, because this is an activity we have done in reducing the delay in delivery or bringing down the unhappiness of our ultimate customer, because the standardized manufacturing was practiced at this ancillary unit. And of course, post-COVID scenario, warehouses have the responsibility of adhering to various rules and regulations applicable at the destination, whether domestic or international. Earlier, a lot of environmental things were there, because some countries won't accept, wooden cases. There, you have to do this corrugated. For that, this corrugated, big corrugated boxes with inserts have come. Then in some cases, you have to give, you can use, some of the countries, they are ready to accept, wooden cases, but you have to provide a certificate of reforestation. That means one tree is cut, you have planted 4 trees, just like that. These sort of things, a lot of these are all headaches, for warehouse personnel, Then another thing is there, some countries won't accept, components. Suppose your product contains a screw which is manufactured, employing child labor, it is not acceptable. So you have to obtain a certificate from the labor commissioner saying that, this unit which is supplying screw to so and so is not employing any child labor. So that will go. Then only that thing is acceptable in the other country. These sort of things are there. Now one more thing is going to happen. That something like certification of COVID protocols, because that WHO and subsequently ICMR, that is Indian Council for Medical Research, they are coming out with these things. In future, we may have to go this COVID protocol certificate is also required for moving an item from one state to another state, as well as to globally import destination also. Then I'm just showing, some of the professional organizations have already come out with these things. Since I have been with this HVAC industry, there is something known as American Society of Heating, Refrigerating and Air Conditioning Engineers. They have come out with these things, which is known as Guide to COVID-19 pages. Actually, it is available in this ASHRAE website. And the major areas, you can understand what is main, what is reopening, what is once you are reopening, then buildings, then filtration and disinfection, transportation, resources, all these things are there. So this is going to be, because many professional organizations started doing this for their members to go for this, but ultimately there will be a through an act or some government regulation, we will have to adhere to this. Then only we will be able to do business, to make it in simple language. So I have given my email ID, because everything I have given in capital letters only. Govindaraj, govindaraj.narayam@gmail.com. You can send in your queries, and if you require any further details on what I have shown, because of the problem, time constraint, I couldn't add a lot of things and I couldn't explain much. I can give to interested participants, further on this. Please send me the email, and let me thank Professor Pati and your dean and all persons responsible for inviting me to do this guest lecture for ASBM course. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. There is one question.
Pardon?
There is one question from audience.
Yeah, then
How
they can see this email ID. They can take this email ID and further correspond with me. And one thing I promise, whatever the participants are sending queries to me, I will give the answers, and both, I will send it to ASBM because it will be of use to you, for your further, analysis or whatever it is. For your regular students, it may be useful. And will you be, sharing this PowerPoint presentation to the participants?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye. To everybody.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.